ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
Safe for now. San Diego County narrowly dodging the state's most restrictive tier in its fight against the coronavirus. Good evening. I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. As of today, San Diego County will remain in the red tier, and current businesses operations, they will stay the same. Our Team 10 investigator Adam Rakusin takes a look at the close call and what happens next.
Okay, everybody at home, take a deep breath. Now, exhale. The numbers are in. San Diego County's staying in the red, at least for now.
We felt, not because of a personal or subjective opinion that we received after having conversations with San Diego, but that we built a process that was based on the concrete data that we received, and that they should remain in the red tier, at least for this week.
Here's what the state looks at. They've color-coded it to make it easy. San Diego's struggle has been with the case rate per 100,000 residents. Last week, as cases at San Diego State University surged, it was up above 7, putting that metric in the purple widespread category. This week, the state has it at 6.8. With some fancy math, the state increased that number to 6.9 because they say the county is below the state median in testing. 6.9 is in the red, meaning that's where the county stays.
Part of the reason why we ask counties for 2 consecutive weeks is so we don't have a sudden reaction to what is a short-term trend.
Dr. Galley says the state's worked closely with the county over the past week, but was very clear.
If San Diego County, just like any other county, misses our thresholds, that is going to trigger those more intense conversations which we've had.
His comments come as businesses continue to push back against the state's reopening framework. Their voices becoming more vocal and gaining the support of some local leaders. Supervisor Jim Desmond writing on Facebook, staying in the red tier should not be celebrated.
We are working closely with a number of our counties and our business leaders to see how we can continue to hold on to get transmission to drop in those counties so we don't run the risk of moving backwards.
Adam Rakusin, ABC 10 News.
Dr. Galley says the county's numbers did include those cases from San Diego State. The county would need 2 consecutive weeks with numbers in the purple tier to slide back. And a sigh of relief in San Diego County today, officially narrowly avoiding that purple tier as we just mentioned. The county reported a drop in new daily cases today with 6.9 new daily cases per 100,000 of the population. That number dropped just low enough to prevent us from a new round of restrictions. San Diego County will stay in the red tier for at least 1 more week, but we're not out of the woods just yet.
So I'm going to continue to advocate for a more cautious approach, not only to save lives, but also to not put businesses in this constant open, closed type situation.
If the daily number of cases rises to more than 7 per 100,000 and stays above that for 2 weeks, many businesses would have to shut down their indoor operations again. The County Board of Supervisors is meeting right now. We'll have an update on that meeting on ABC 10 News at 6.
Today, classes resumed as scheduled at Sage Elementary School. This after the school reported 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19. The PTA president says it was a first grade student and a student in 3rd grade that tested positive. The Del Mar Union School District hasn't released that information. All students and staff who were directly exposed have been contacted and will be quarantining for 14 days. Those students will engage in virtual learning. And a growing number of parents want the San Diego Unified School District to return to full-time in-person education. They're demonstrating ahead of tonight's district meeting, and that's where we find ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo. Laura.
And Lindsay, that rally just wrapped up a few minutes ago. They gathered out here outside of district headquarters right in front of the flagpole. They were protesting, saying they want their kids back in the classroom now and that their children are falling behind every day. That doesn't happen. Now, the group behind this is called Reopen SDUSD. The founder of the group, Gina Smith, is a parent and a family therapist. She says what's been frustrating for parents is that other schools have reopening plans, and they say San Diego Unified doesn't have one. Other parents say they are falling behind financially because of the cost of childcare and other costs for having to do distance learning at home. Now, San Diego County schools have been approved for reopening in-person learning, but several districts, including San Diego Unified, have decided to take a cautious approach to reopening. Parents, however, say they are concerned about the mental health of their children, worried about their lack of social interaction and too much screen time. Others wish the district was more transparent.
the lack of communication communicates a sense of no urgency. So that's the trouble that I have with it.
Now, the district school board is meeting at 5 o'clock. A spokesperson tells us that they do have a plan for reopening. They say it is a phased plan and that children with the highest risk or the greatest need, like special education children or people that are at risk of falling behind in their education, could be back in the classroom as early as the end of this month. But again, they tell me that they are doing a phased, gradual reopening for students here at the district. Reporting live, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Laura, thank you. In the meantime, a grim milestone today for the U.S. in its fight against the coronavirus. The country surpassing now 200,000 deaths because of COVID. ABC's Romina Puga has the latest.
Tuesday, the U.S. hit that horrific milestone of 200,000 confirmed COVID-19 deaths. The American Hospital, Medical and Nurses Associations released a joint statement saying, by scale and raw numbers, COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on our country, affecting Americans at a rate that represents a nearly worst-case scenario.
There's a big crowd.
But overnight, the president once again downplaying the virus's deadly nature, claiming, despite evidence to the contrary, that COVID only impacts the elderly or people with pre-existing conditions.
It affects virtually nobody.
Meantime, CDC confusion as the agency walks back new guidelines it published Friday, then redacted on Monday. The guidelines, aligned with what many health experts have been saying for months, suggested the virus is airborne and can transmit in places with poor ventilation, like some restaurants and gyms.
I apologize on behalf of CDC for that. We weren't ready to put it up.
The American people rely on the CDC for clear guidance, including how the virus is transmitted. And this flip-flopping, which clearly is about political interference in the scientific process, I think makes it much harder for Americans to know what the right things are.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defended the CDC, which is often contradicted by the administration.
Great scientists there demoralized by the political overturning of recommendations to save lives.
This as the World Health Organization reports the worst one-week period of worldwide COVID infections with 2 million people as we prepare for the colder weather to come.
In addition to COVID, we'll be seeing flu and other respiratory viruses. And as we go indoors and viruses do better in the winter, we may see some of the restrictions needing to be rolled out again.
The United Kingdom is reinstating restrictions after a resurgence in COVID cases, including fines for people who break self-isolation. In Los Angeles, Romina Puga, ABC News.
Meanwhile, the CDC just released new guidelines for celebrating Halloween this year. It's no surprise that it is warning against the traditional trick-or-treating, but that doesn't mean you can't pass out candy. One idea the agency recommends is making individually wrapped candy bags. Kids could then pick up the candy in front of a yard or a driveway. Other moderate to low-risk activities include small outdoor costume parades, an outdoor scary movie night, or pumpkin carvings.
In other news, as we head into the elections, billions of dollars could be at stake with Proposition 15. If passed, it would tax some commercial properties based on current market value instead of when it was bought. Team 10 investigator Melissa Masiha is digging into the ads for No on 15 in our new segment, Truth Be Told.
Excited to see what was
Brandon Foster runs 2 gift shops in Oceanside. We've been following his struggles through the pandemic since March.
Well, if I don't lose everything today will be like a good day.
Even though he's a renter, Brandon said his landlord prepared him if Proposition 15 passes.
We already have been told by our landlords if that passes, they will be passing on that cost to us. The landlords, a lot of them have vacancies and things like that where they are struggling themselves. So I understand that why they would need to pass that cost on to us.
57 years ago, we opened. This year, the pandemic closed us twice. Now, special interest put Proposition 15 on the ballot, raising property taxes and rents on small business.
Chief economist at Point Loma Nazarene, Lynn Reeser, analyzed the ad.
They are very emotional, as ads are supposed to be. They strike you at your heart.
The ad has major funding from the California Business Roundtable, Business Properties Association, and the California Taxpayers Association.
You would see a big effect, especially on these older companies, not necessarily the big companies, but all companies that are older that bought their properties some years ago.
Truth be told, the ad lacks detail about time frame. If passed, changes won't begin until 2022. And truth be told, Prop 15 affects only commercial or industrial properties valued at more than $3 million. If passed, the Legislative Analyst Office said it could bring in as much as $11.5 billion to local governments and schools.
The no ad does also specifically say homeowners are next. Is that true, or is that just kind of the assumption?
It's possible, no one knows.
Brandon is worried about the trickle-down effect.
All the businesses, they're all going to have to pass on the money, basically that expense, to somebody. Because a lot of businesses in California are, like, margin-wise, are just scraping by, small business-wise.
Melissa Masiha, Team 10.
We have a similar story on the Yes campaign tomorrow. There are links to this ad and the sources we used in our fact check on 10news.com. 2 Camp Pendleton Marines were arrested for giving narcotics to civilians and a fellow Marine who overdosed and died. Lance Corporal Anthony Wiesnat is accused of distributing oxycodone pills laced with fentanyl, and Ryan White is accused of helping him avoid getting caught. Wiesnat now faces 20 years in prison and White faces 10 years. 3 other people who are not in the military have also been arrested in connection to this case. Lifeguards airlifted a hiker to safety after he fell climbing down some cliffs in La Jolla. This happened at around 1:30 this afternoon near an area known as Box Canyon, south of the glider port. Lifeguards say the 28-year-old man was unable to get up after injuring his wrist and back. Rescuers first had to clear the air from gliders before they could reach him. He was flown to Scripps Memorial Hospital to be treated.
All right, 1 week from tomorrow, the Padres will open their first postseason series in 14 years, and they want to make sure that it takes place at Petco Park. That's where we find our ABC 10 News Sports Director, Ben Higgins. And the clinching the playoff spot, Ben, that was just the first step. They want a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, the final goal, the big cake, as Fernando Tatis Jr. calls it, is winning the World Series. But there are a few mileposts along the way. The next being clinching home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. And the Padres can do that as soon as tonight with a win over the Angels here at Petco Park, combined with a loss by the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, manager Jace Tingler will feature his usual star-studded lineup to try and get the job done against the Angels tonight. But while reigning National League Player of the Month Fernando Tatis Jr. and 2-time National League Player of the Week Manny Machado have received most of the attention, the guy out in right field is putting up similar offensive numbers in a comeback season for the ages. Ever since making the 2016 All-Star Game at Petco Park, Will Myers has seen his numbers sink like a stone, down to just a .239 average last season. The Padres tried to trade him in the offseason, couldn't find another team interested. It may go down as the best non-move A.J. Preller has never made. Myers is putting up all-star numbers, hitting .298 with 14 home runs, including a critical 3-run shot in Sunday's playoff clincher. Earlier this afternoon, he talked about going through those seasons of struggle to emerge on the other side, and he said he wouldn't be the player he is today, helping the Padres in their playoff run, had he not gone through those struggles. Really great perspective from a still young baseball player who's helping this team really win right now. Honestly, I heard one sports radio host as early as last week still trying to trade Will Myers. I don't know what happened to that idiot, but he's certainly proving that guy really wrong. Live from Petco Park, I'm Ben Higgins, ABC 10 News.
I wonder who that guy is. We'll have to do some investigation with that. All right, thank you, Ben.
A San Diego native who died while battling one of the massive fires burning in Southern California, honored by colleagues during a procession.